Hello everyone, feels a little bit weird sitting in front of the mic again, because it's been a little while for me. For those that didn't know, I went on a holiday to go visit some close friends of mine, and also to explore Scotland a bit, because I'd never been to the country before. So I left on Monday, came back the next Friday, and then I basically spent the last 2 days catching up with stuff that I'd missed, because I took the best time to go on a holiday, seeing how Destiny just got a new season, and then Genshin also got their new patch right after I arrived over there. So I've just been taking my time enjoying those games and then just catching up in general with other things that I've missed, and I guess also sorting out all of the COVID stuff because I do need to get tested again, but that was just to be expected. I did try to keep up with the comments on videos and such while I was there, but the app isn't too amazing, so if I missed any of your comments, then my apologies. I did try my best to read them all to the best of my ability. I do hope that you guys enjoyed the content that I had prepared for when I was gone, but I'm back now, and so everything will return to normal once I just get back into the swing of things. Kinda happy and sad at the same time to be back again, because on one hand it's really nice to have my PC again, be back in my own room, sleep in my own bed, but I will be missing the company of my friends. I ended up sleeping on the couch of some friends of mine, which very comfy couch I must say, and then I also had another friend of mine come down to the city to do some stuff together as well. Most of my time there was spent in Edinburgh, because that's where my friends live, and we mostly did sightseeing stuff. Whenever I go to someplace new, I just like to wander around, see the sights, and you sometimes end up finding yourself in some really nice places, which also ended up being the case for this trip. So I guess I'll just go over some of the stuff that we ended up doing over there. And I also took lots of photos while I was there, so I'll be showing a few of those as well. You'll probably see a purple blob in some of the pictures, which was my friend that I went to visit. And before people start asking about it, no, that's not my girlfriend. I'm still very much so single, so ladies, if you're interested, I'm available. Anyways, seeing how I do like to go on walks or hikes, the first thing on the list was Arthur's Seat. This gives an amazing view of the city and its surroundings, and was definitely one of my favorite things that I did during my stay over there. We also got really lucky with the weather on that day, although maybe it was a little bit too hot to go for a hike, but overall it was really nice and the view was definitely worth it. Shortly after that, my friend came down to the city, and our plan was to just go visit the castle. Now, us being totally unprepared and not really having any plans outside of see the castle and go drinking, we arrived at the castle and found out that we had to pre-book tickets because they can only allow a certain amount of people inside with the current COVID restrictions that were in place. So we went with plan B, which was to just go out drinking. Both me and my friend enjoy our beer, so I brought some Belgian beer for him to try, and he wanted to take me to some pubs to try Scottish ale. So we basically spent the rest of our day doing just that, ending our evening with a very nice dinner, which was also the first time that I had surf and turf. I don't know why, I never really tried it before. I just feel like not that many places over here do it, and if they do, I just never really realized. But it was certainly a good plan B. And best of all, we still managed to get in our castle visit the next day, right before he left to get his bus back home again, which the castle definitely wasn't what I was expecting. It was much better than what I had in mind. And then after he left, I basically spent the rest of my activities with the friend that I was staying over at. We went to visit the botanical gardens the next day, which, as much as I like hiking up a hill, going for a nice and leisurely stroll, just having a chat can be really nice as well. I remember the first time when I went to Japan, I also ended up visiting a lot of gardens and parks, so it's something that I certainly enjoyed doing, and these were definitely worth the visit. They were a lot bigger than I had first expected as well, so it was a really nice surprise, and then we basically spent most of our day just strolling through the gardens. There was also a pond where she wanted to take me, which gave a really nice view of the skyline of the city, and that day was actually one of those happy accidents, because the pond and the surrounding area itself were pretty nice, but you basically had seen it all in about 10 or so minutes. But there was a little forest walkway, and we were like, might as well see where this leads. Now, it didn't actually end up leading anywhere, but we decided to just walk in some random direction once we left the forest path, and that did end up leading somewhere. We ended up stumbling across the Waterways of Leaf walkway, I believe it's called. Name's probably slightly different, but it was something along those lines. And it's a long walkway that leads through the city, following a river that leads all the way to Leaf, hence the name, which is the shore of Edinburgh. So we followed the path all the way to the end, went into the shopping mall, which was where my friend could get her pumpkin spice latte, because she couldn't stop going on about that, and then we made our way back home, going through the path again. But we somehow ended up following a different path this time. I don't know how we ended up on that different path, but it happened, and we managed to find our way back in the end. So it was really nice to go through that path again, but then still getting that change of scenery, again on accident, and it's usually these happy little accidents that end up being some of the more memorable memories which was always really nice. Seeing how I was in Scotland, I also wanted to go see if visiting Loch Ness was doable, because I mean, I'm over there now anyways, might as well see how far it is, and it was quite a train ride to get there, but we decided to go for it anyways. So we took the train to Inverness, and then we went by bus from there. The only unfortunate thing about this trip is that we didn't really prepare it well enough, so we just kind of went with it and decided to see where we would end up. We thought that going to the visitor center would be a good idea, as that would most likely be close to the lake or loch or whatever you want to call it, but that didn't really end up being the case. So we ended up having to go on quite a walk in order for us to get to the lake in the first place, and what we could see of it was only a very small portion. And add to that the fact that we were on a time schedule, because our bus tickets were time-stamped, and it meant that we didn't really get to see that much of the lake while we were there in person, and we saw most of it on our bus ride. It wasn't too disappointing though, because what we did get to see was beautiful, and we also ended up going on a little detour, walking back to the bus stop, going through a foresty area, and we ended up on some sort of a beach, which apparently is kind of a meme, because Scotland doesn't really have a lot of normal beaches over there with sand and sea. So yeah, that's what my friend basically called the beach, and I was kind of confused at it at first, but apparently it's just kind of a meme. So we ended up staying the night over there in a hotel, because if we were to get our train back, then we would have traveled for like 9 hours that day. So we just decided to get a hotel, and then we could also see a little bit of Inverness in the morning before our train ride home. So we walked around a bit, visited another botanical garden, although this one was a lot smaller, and we were pretty much done with it in about 10 to 15 minutes instead of the few hours that we had spent in the first one. And then last but not least, we also ended up doing a Viking escape room on my final day there. I never really did escape rooms much. The only other time that I did it was during the Paris Fan Fest for Final Fantasy, as a friend of mine wanted to go do one, which was a lot of fun. So I was definitely down to try another one. And then after we were done with that, we just ended up walking around the city a little bit before we ended up chilling in a park for a bit while eating a snack and enjoying the view of what the city normally looks like, apparently. Because we had pretty decent weather for the most part. I hadn't really seen the city on how it usually looks, with a lot of fog covering the castle and such, because apparently Edinburgh is supposed to be the most haunted city in Scotland or something. So this was really nice to look at, as it changed the atmosphere completely. But that was about it for my trip over there. We did some other stuff as well, of course, but those were the main activities that we kept ourselves busy with. And it just felt great getting to meet up with friends and hang out with them while also exploring this country that I hadn't been to before. And I'm looking forward to doing that more in the future as well, as hopefully the COVID restrictions start to ease up a little bit, because I really miss going out to new places, meeting up with my friends to then explore those places with. But we'll see what the future brings. For now, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for their support, and I'll see you in the next one.